A reminder for myself as well, enunciate a bit more than usual because the transcription bot is quite... it doesn't do that well with strong accents, as I found out.
Right.
By the way, for the few people that don't know, we have a transcription bot because Frozen's deaf.
That's also good to know. Okay, I need someone to take the minutes. Would anyone like to volunteer? Hello?
I can do them if you want for this meeting.
Okay,
oh, I could do the minutes.
Oh, okay.
I had it open.
Okay. The minutes
Sorry,
are there.
I had a brain fart.
Thanks, Vicky.
I'm just going back into... Oh, there's a bus already.
Yep. DNA, you are very quiet, by the way.
Is that any better?
It is
Wee
better,
bit.
yes.
Okay, perfect.
All right, let's get this meeting started. For this meeting, we have 2 conductor applicants, 2 moderator nominees, I guess you call it, and then 3, and then 1 or 2. Well, I guess there's now 2 community issues. So let's start off with the first conductor candidate, and that is Radiant Rager 26. I'm going to randomize the list of staff. And first one up to vote is you, DNA.
4.
Okay. Second is Mpolo. Mpolo said he'd submit an absentee, but I did not receive one by the time of the meeting, so he did not vote. Sedge Penguin sent an absentee. He has voted neutral on Radiant. AP.
I'm in favour for.
4. Okay. Now it's me. I'm going to be voting 4. Foot, are you here? He had some issues listening to the meeting. Foot, are you here? Can you hear us? About 1 second here.
Oh, yes, Foot, I think, said in the chat earlier, they are going to be doing the GSM without the audio to make sure it works for Frozen if he gets mod.
What? Wait, what? What? What does that mean? He's listening. Is he?
Sorry, I think that means, based off what you said, that he's going to just read the transcription bot and participate that way.
Okay. In any case, I'm asking for. Okay, I need Foot's vote. So I'm not sure if he's in. He's not in game. What is Foot doing? Foot has no audio. Okay. Foot, if you can listen to this through the transcription bot, what is your vote for Radiant Ranger 26?
Foot says 4.
Foot says 4. Okay. That's all I wanted. Zooge is not here and he did not submit an absentee ballot, so he did not vote, as far as I know. 7D also did not receive an absentee ballot. The next one is Vicky.
I'll be voting neutral.
Okay. Alpha just got here. Oh yeah, what's your vote, Alpha?
I'll vote neutral for now.
Okay. Needon?
4.
Okay. Missa submitted an absentee ballot. Missa voted 4. MBF?
4.
Okay. HVT did not vote, did not submit an absentee ballot. And finally, Skelly submitted an absentee ballot. Skelly voted in favor.
Okay, so let's see. We got 1, 2, 3. All right, and how many staff? It's like 6.
Looks to be 8-4, I think. Okay.
Yeah, 8-4, 3 neutral, and 4 did not vote.
Okay. I'll start this off by just saying a few things from the absentees. Mrs. said he's voting for positive experiences of Radiant. Seems level-headed and willing to help. Skelly voted for, knowledgeable of world edit, meeting the activity requirements. Stesh voted neutral. He says, I personally have not had an issue with Radiant, but his recent playtime looks good. I'm aware he has attempted Conductor before, but I don't know enough currently to say whether things have changed since then. I'm not entirely sure what he's referring to there. If there was things before, that were brought up about Radiant, but as far as I know, only activity was the problem, if I recall correctly, unless I'm mistaken here. I open the floor to everyone here. Any thoughts on Radiant here?
I don't see any issues.
I think I've had some pretty positive experiences with Radiant. I think they're a friendly person, good at communicating. I think they tick all the boxes for Conductor.
Just good experiences.
Actually, I'm going to change my vote to a 4.
Okay. For, I guess, the remaining person who voted neutral, Alpha, do you have any thoughts on any reasons why voting neutral there?
I was just unsure because apparently it was the I think like 4th time that Radiant has applied. So I was just unsure, but hearing the testimonies, I'm okay with voting for as well.
So that's Alpha's vote, I believe.
Yeah, Alpha is still neutral as far as I know.
Yeah, I can switch to 4.
Are you going to switch to 4 or not?
I'll switch to 4.
Okay. Also, HVT just showed up. HVT, what are you voting for here for Radiant? HVT is voting for, so you can change that as well. Okay. Okay, so right now it's sitting at 11-4-1 neutral. Any final comments here before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, main interaction with Radiant has been through obviously the AIX project, which has gone really well. Shows a good thing of collaborate, shows good ability to collaborate. Yeah, I'm happy with them.
Okay. All right, so no other comments. We're going to promote Radiant or grant Radiant Ranger the Conductor rank. So congratulations there.
So I believe that's 11-4 is 1 neutral and
I changed it from 4 to
3
3 D and Vs, yeah. Okay, moving on to the next Conductor candidate, that is Echohue. I'm going to randomize the staff list again. I don't know why we do this. I think it was a chief thing.
I think it's to stop, the same person being asked each time.
Yeah, but it's kind of like more of a surprise, like, oh, I don't know when I'm going to get asked, but okay. All right, so the first person is AP.
Cool, 4.
Okay. Such Penguin, where is his vote here? Yep, Such Penguin's voting for. Vicky.
I'll be voting for as well.
Okay, HVT. He's going to type it out.
4.
Oh, there you are. Who's next? Skelly has voted for. DNA.
4.
7D did not vote. Zuge did not vote. Needham.
4.
Okay. Missa has voted. Missa has voted neutral. Alpha.
Vote 4.
Okay. MBF.
Neutral.
Okay. And Polo did not vote. I'm voting neutral. And finally, Foot. Yeah, Foot. Vote on the Echohue.
Neutral, I think.
That's an and. Yeah, type it out, Foot, because just for clarity here. Neutral. Okay. Okay, while that's being tallied, I'm going to read out the absentee ballots here. Skelly, yep, same sort of thing, being knowledgeable of world edit, meeting activity requirements. Sesh said he voted for 2-month playtime looks good. Assuming it can be kept up, no issues with Echo as far as I know, looks good to me. Missa voted neutral. He's not against, but he would like to see him reliably back before voting for. Any comments here?
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, he's fairly new back to the server, but former moderator knows what he's doing with the axe.
Yeah, I
No
agree.
qualms at
And
all.
yeah, I have no problems with Echo. Echo is a very, like, I do consider Echo one of my friends, so this might be like a mild conflict of interest, but like, I think I honestly really trust Echo. He was DM for Larkspur for a long time. Echo's really fun having around, and overall just a great person, and definitely, I think, yeah, while the activity is like a mild concern, I don't think that is big enough of a concern.
Okay. I'm just gonna say I'm voting neutral. I'm echoing, haha. Mrs. Concerns. Like, it seems a little too early, in my opinion, for someone to just pop back up and just go straight to suddenly to Conductor, in my opinion. If you want my opinion about when he was moderator, I have a kind of a neutral opinion on his term there. It wasn't anything bad, but it also wasn't anything particularly outstanding from my perspective. So based on that, my opinion is generally just pretty flat out neutral when it comes to Echo. So, and what the hell was that noise?
Yeah, that was the train. My bad.
Okay, maybe not do to discuss this vote here. Any further comments here? Sorry, any further comments for neutral or anything else before we move on here? It is starting at 8-4 for neutral.
No, I think it's a bit like short, especially since like the first of the 3 months that is listed is literally 0. But from just the immense amount of like that Echo has been on recently, I don't think it's an issue. So I'm happy with 4.
Okay. Not hearing any further comments. That means Echo is promoted on a vote of 8-4 here. So congratulations. All right. Now for the good stuff. We're heading to moderator candidate territory. It's been a while since we've promoted one. And we got 2 candidates to look at. So the first one we're looking at is jintyorder. We're going to randomize the list again. And all right, the first person to vote is Alpha.
I'll vote neutral.
Okay. Next is AP.
4 in favour.
All right. Needon.
4.
Okay. Skelly has voted in favor for. Vicky.
I will also be voting for.
Okay. DNA.
I'll be voting neutral.
Okay. Foot. Foot, vote for Jinty. Dude, this is stupid. It's a yell at
He's not really.
But is neutral.
Neutral. I'm assuming, and we're going to interpret N as neutral.
Enunciate, please.
Okay, Foot is voting neutral. Next is Polo. He did not send a vote. 7D did not send a vote. HVT. HVT is voting neutral. I am voting neutral. Missa is voting. Where's Missa's vote? Missa's voting for. Zooj did not submit a vote. MBF.
4.
Okay. And finally, Sesh Penguin submitted a vote of neutral. Right, where does that stand for us here?
Let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 neutral. So it's evenly split between 4 and neutral.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm going to read out some of the absentee ballots here. Skelly wrote a bit here. For Ginty, I would agree that it seemed that he has a temperament for it to be a moderator. I don't feel he has a lot of conflict resolution experience, and that element is harder than it looks. However, it can be learned. What's important here is that he is courteous and he will serve other people. Since I feel that he has the necessary personality qualities to be a moderator, I am voting 4 on him. Sesh voted neutral. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if the evidence presented in the nominations are necessarily strong enough to convince me that Ginty is a good moderator candidate, specifically over just strong member of the community. That's what he wrote there. And finally, Missa voted for convincing evidence of a mature, calm player who is willing to help the community. Okay. Well, this is interesting. Any further comments?
Yeah, I had good experience with Ginty. I think, granted, conflict resolution is kind of hard to demonstrate because of I lost my train of thought again. I've been doing this a lot lately. But that's kind of hard to demonstrate without just experience. And that without like first-hand experience. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And I'm not really gonna not hit against Ginty. But outside of that, I've had good experiences with Ginty. I think he is good for mods, in my opinion.
I guess now that we don't really have MPOs as much, like we don't have as much conflict to resolve. So like there's less like mod evidence. But apart from that, I don't know him too well in terms of like just I've seen him like a few times, but I know that he is really well ingrained with the community. And yeah, so the conflict resolution, I haven't been able to see that, but I haven't seen him around too much just because time zones. But I have full confidence. So.
Same here. I've got confidence in Ginty. I've not seen them get into arguments, but from the evidence given, I think he'd be a good fit.
I am curious by all those who voted neutral so far. Could I know the reasons why? Like, I guess I should explain myself to it at some point, but I'm more curious about the other neutral votes so far.
I mean, I think for me, I've had some really great interactions with Ginty. I've just maybe not seen enough that says to me, oh, this is definitely the person fit for moderator. I know with some other candidates previously, I guess I just haven't seen as much evidence that supports them for being moderator. But I think I would be willing to change my vote to 4, having heard the positive feedback from others here. So,
are you changing your vote for 4 then?
I'll wait to hear what some of the people have to say first, and then.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Who else voted neutral here? Because I'm also kind of in the same boat, DNA. I'm kind of on the fence. I'd like to hear some more opinions. But unfortunately, Foot is sticking with neutral. Alpha or Hut, maybe? Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah. So I'm just voting neutral. I think I'm in agreement with DNA and Sesh here. I haven't interacted with Jinty that much because probably due to time zone and set my busy schedule. But I think personally, looking at the nomination, I don't find it particularly strong for moderator. I think it's like a good nomination for like perhaps conductor, but I think it's like like the evidence isn't especially strong enough to convince me for a 4 vote.
So
Yeah, we're
where's it
getting
currently
back.
standing then? Sorry to interrupt, APL. So is this a promotion then currently, or
No,
currently no
6
promotion.
is not.
Yeah, the 7 votes are needed, 51%. So this is not a promotion at the moment. So there would
Yeah.
need to be one flip
so
base.
7? I mean,
Also, we're
I think
getting
I'll be
back.
willing to change to a 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll change for 4. I think I've heard some pretty positive comments from people. So
All right, DNA is changing to a 4. I'm still on the fence. I can see some of the arguments of like the nomination itself is not particularly strong, but I am seeing. I do agree with the comment that Jinty is a pretty chill guy. Like I've not seen any arguments with him or any. I guess my biggest worry, given previous moderator candidates that may have had, how should I to put it lightly, basically some issues with conflicts with other people and not being able to resolve them properly. I just my worry here is, if Jinty would cause problems like that in a position of power like that. But considering that no one's really observed anything like that, then I'm going to change my vote to 4 based on that. I think there are still concerns about like, oh, is he going to be, good? Like no one's been able to see him be a good conflict resolution. Hopefully he can, do that more as mod. I guess if you want to take that as feedback for Jinty, but maybe just seeing that, hopefully he'll grow into the role, I guess, is what I'm saying here.
I mean, I think Nina mentioned it earlier about how it's, I guess, a lot of the time it's kind of hard to find evidence for people having resolved conflicts and stuff until they've actually been a moderator. So
I mean, not to say that I guess it is easier, but it is possible to resolve conflicts on your own without the help of staff. So, okay. Any further comments here? We're sitting at 8-4 for neutral here.
So that would be a promotion in this case.
Okay, Foots has a comment. I have the impression that he gets frustrated slightly easier than average, but not to a concerning level. Do you want to elaborate on that any more, Foot, or anything we should know about there? I'm just letting Foot type anything. So Foot says just thinking about the Ox River Airport thing. What is the Ox River Airport thing? Because I don't seem to remember that. Green says I did bring that up in the nomination.
So there was supposed to be like an airport, like I think Ox River Coal Hole, and that was a proposal that got denied. But I don't see anything specific why that would make it like hard to have conversations. Yeah.
So okay, so I mean, hearing so Foot says, by my impression, he got upset sort of quickly, But then others are saying, Athena says he was really good about resolving with other airline owners as well. He did resolve it with staff. He kind of dissolved mentally. I don't know. Okay, it's worth noting that. Oh wait, what is confusing himself? What?
He's definitely confusing us.
I'm just trying to make sure that we cover everything here before we move on here. So. TBH, okay, Foot is saying TBH can reconsidering the way he dealt with it in public is possibly enough to switch me. Okay. Because I understand getting frustrated after.
Yeah, I mean, everyone gets frustrated. So.
Okay, but thanks for the information and thanks everyone else for the comments. Just making sure that we cover all the bases before. This is kind of the point of nominations. We're trying to get all that information out to the open so people can have all the information at their disposal to determine if this is an appropriate promotion or not. So, based on this, does anyone want to change their vote for jintyorder?
I'm still on the 4 camp.
Okay.
Ditto.
Okay, Foot is confirming he'll switch. He's
okay.
So Foot. Okay, any further switches? All right, so based on this, the vote is sitting at 9-4-3 neutral. That is enough for a promotion. So congratulations, Jinty, for promotion to moderator. All right, and now for the final mod nomination for this meeting. And that is a person named Frozen.
I wonder how this is going to go.
Let's not. I'm not going to say anything. We'll just see how it goes here. So I'm randomizing the staff list. The first person to vote is MBF.
4.
MBF votes 4. I am next. I'm voting 4. Sesh has voted. Where is it? Scroll down here. Sesh has voted 4. Let's see. Poll has not voted. HVT. HVT has voted 4. Missa has voted. Where's Missa? 4. Missa has voted 4. Alpha?
I'm gonna vote 4.
Skelly has written a lot and voted 4. I'll read that out in a sec. AP?
Again, so I say the oldest staffer, but in actuality, 4.
And right, 7D has not voted. Zooge has not voted. DNA?
4.
Needon?
4.
Foot. Foot, vote for Frozen. Foot is voting 4. And finally, Vicky.
I guess no, I'm just kidding. 4.
Okay. So I'm just going to read what Skelly wrote, because he wrote a lot about Frozen. Skelly said, many have stated that Frozen is one of the best staff members to ever serve this community, and I would agree with that assessment. On the off chance that someone is unaware of his past, Frozen was promoted to moderator in January 2014. He was one of the first moderators promoted after I become member on the server. In fact, he still holds the record for shortest time period from being accepted to member to becoming moderator after 2012. He later became an administrator in March 2016. Frozen is mature not just by age, but by demeanor. In all the years I have known him, he has always been respectful and courteous to others. He has always tried to help other people, and he has rarely, if ever, lost his temper. He also has avoided petty squabbles as much as possible, even though he has certainly gone into situations where this could have happened, like when he founded the first server-wide MPO, or with the boundary IAT dispute with Pam Sterlin. I've always known Throzen to keep a level head no matter what happens, even when he is dealing with people who do not have the maturity to behave themselves. There are a few people on the server who are more qualified to be moderator. I vote for Unfrozen. Oh damn, did the Scribbly bot didn't catch that? God damn.
Yeah, generally, long history of service with the server. Very mature. Just a very good person. I am very happy that Frozen returned, so I could get to know him pretty well. So that is to say, emphatic for.
Okay, I don't see any need to discuss it any further unless anyone wants to add anything. So, yeah.
I think my vote's pretty frozen in place.
Wow. All right, Frozen, get back in here. You're mod now. Okay, all right. So that is all of the Conductor mod stuff for this meeting. Now we on to community issues. There's really only one big one, and that is DNA started this topic. Basically, discussion about airport gate ownership and transfers. There's kind of like two proposals here about DNA. I don't know if you want to take this away or describe what's going on here.
Yeah, well, effectively, we had an issue not long ago with airport gates, and a couple of people didn't really quite know whether or not, if you had an airline who owned a gate in an airport, would you then be allowed to transfer that gate without getting the mayor's permission? And anyway, it sort of ballooned out into a larger discussion about like transport rules and franchise rules now, over who has to give permission for things to be moved around within a town, and who owns the towns. Sorry, I heard the thunder. And effectively, I wrote up a couple proposals to sort of get the discussion going, but Frumple's come back with a much more solid single proposal, basically saying that we should somehow merge the franchise and, well, I think you said to consider transport, like trains, boats, etc., as franchises.
Just to be very clear, it's less about merging the rules, but more making the existing franchise rules clear that that it applies to stuff like planes and trains and all that sort of stuff. So I feel like, because I'll just make this clear, the franchise, if planes had applied to the franchise rules, that technically means that people who were transferring airlines between gates without notifying the airport owner, technically that wasn't allowed, because the rules don't allow for that. It does allow for the airport owner to move planes around onto different gates, but for the airline owner, they're not supposed to like sell their gate to someone else or something like that. That's technically not allowed. But it seems like that was a practice that was happening, like, anyway. It sounds like.
Sorry, just to get that clear then. So your proposal, would that be allowing airlines to transfer gates at all?
It wouldn't. If you read it as it is, no, because technically, if you treat it like a regular franchise, if you consider regular franchises like a shop in a building, I don't think we've ever allowed, like, if the shop owner decide to like clear out and then sell it to someone else without notifying the town owner, that's not allowed. So I don't see why this doesn't apply to airline gates as well. Frankly, if the airport owner does, and here's a scenario that I want people to consider: if an airline owner gives away grants a gate to someone, and then that someone decides to sell their plane to someone else, and then the airport owner doesn't want that particular airline there. For whatever reason. I don't think it's fair for the airport owner to just, they can't do anything about it, right? I think they do have a say of what gates they want to assign to, or to whom, or to which airlines, right? So.
I suppose I did. I think I did mention. I'm jumping a bit into the deep end here, but I suppose would that be allowed under? Because in your proposal you mentioned they could outline some restrictions and stuff when the plane gets built in the first place. So as an airport owner, could I say to the franchise owner, "Oh, you're fine to transfer this gate to whoever you want"?
Yeah, but I think we also discussed in the thread, that's how do you force that? So
yeah,
the rule was placed in 2020. It was agreed to. I don't know if staff really at the time thought about like how do we enforce this, but that's the rule. So anyway, I'm just going to read what's in Meeting Live here. Okay, so Katie has an interesting take here. I feel the restriction could easily be circumvented through selling your airline. For example, let's say I have a gate at Segville. I want to give it to HPT. I replace one intra-air gate with a gate to my other airline, Fossick Notseca Air, and I decide to sell Fossick Notseca Air to HPT. It's an interesting loophole, yeah.
True, and what if you own multiple airlines? Would you be able to swap them out?
Yeah, I'm using the example, keeping it within intra. When we got the airfield at Elton Hospital, I assigned gates to airlines. The gate for Intra-Air went to Segville Air instead, which technically, it's a different airline. At least it is in terms of signage and things, even though in this case, it's the same airline. Yeah, there's nothing to say if Katie decides in a month's time to sell Segville Air. I don't think it would be reasonable as the airport owner to evict them there at that point because it's become a separate airline.
I guess what I'm trying to get at with these rules is, do you want to wait for someone to transfer their airline out and then have the airport owner discover it, just like almost surprise them, or do you want them to and I feel like this is the safer case, just say that no, you can't transfer. Just let the airport owner know first before you do something like that, because I feel like in this, I think it's a matter of courtesy to just let the airport owner know that you're going to switch it out, right? Because otherwise, what happens in the other scenario? What I fear is the airport owner discovers this, then brings in staff, because staff now because they're not happy that someone has changed their airline underneath from them, right? Again, using the analogy with regular franchises, if someone built a shop in my town, and then suddenly that shop is no longer that shop, it's to take a really stupid example, it's not a restaurant or something, it's now an IKEA. Somehow you could fit it in there. It might not fit, that business might not fit what I intended for the town, right?
I mean, I suppose this is, I think I did kind of bring it up. I think it's a lot easier to make those sorts of transfers for things like airline gates and maybe like docks in a port, but I think it becomes a lot more difficult, like you say, with an actual physical franchise where it does affect the aesthetic appearance of a town.
I mean,
I don't know if we should apply rules separately or not, but I think I did also mention as well, just like having a store with a physical location rather than in a slot in a mall. You can't just swap out an entire building versus like a space in a mall which is very clearly defined.
Kay says it's not an apples to apples comparison. I'm not sure I completely agree, because in terms of at least in Minecraft, the plane is technically a structure. It's supposed to be a moving vehicle, but it is a structure in all intents and purposes. It is taking up a space in an airport, just like a shop takes up a space in a building or something like that. Right? So pretty similar. I'm not gonna lie there. So in the thread, we had some suggestions of, or at least I had a couple suggestions of how to resolve this. So if you look on the franchise rules, there is, I guess specifically, which one it is? I guess number 1, there is an exception for trains and train stations already. That's was already in place in 2020. My guess, I don't know exactly why it's there, but I think the probably educated guess is that if you move a train or a train station, you're going to break a line, or you can't just move these sort of things out. So one suggestion would be to add another exception for planes and airports. But I guess this doesn't solve the problem with the airline owner, though. That's a separate issue, actually. So actually, never mind. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, if we do end up adding an exception, I think I'd be in favour of making an exception for all warp transit, full stop, just because of the issues of transferring warps and whatnot.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd be in favour of a rule similar to IATs, IABs, of maybe not quite as stringent, but alerting or making some attempts to inform the airport owner before transferring.
So,
airport owner or franchise owner, I'm not sure.
Yeah, let's be specific here. So, AP, what are you suggesting that if an airline owner wants to move a plane, or let's try to encompass it, like they want to sell their gate to someone else or replace it with someone else, whether it's another airline or someone else, they need to submit an IAT or IAB?
Not necessarily submit an IAT, IAB, but make some contact with the airport owner ahead of time, or if they can be found. I realise in terms of enforcement, if we decide to go down that route, then it would probably require another category in the request to staff tab, but that it keeps that option there, especially for inactive airports. It still keeps the option there for it keeps a balance of control between the airport owners and the airline owners.
Yeah, that's the key. I'm just going to address what Katie's saying. So it is true that airport owners can set whatever rules they want. That's fine. But the scenario I'm worried about is if someone changes their gate and that violates the rules of the airport owner, what happens there? Does the airport owner just kick them out? Does the airport owner contact staff? Like, I think contacting staff is possible. It's their choice to whether they want to do that. But at that point, staff have no real idea of what the rule of we don't have any records of that, right? So it's kind of a wild west of that. There haven't been any notable conflicts about this in years past, but I worry that it'll happen at some point.
The counterexample, the whole, I don't know whether this got public. Put it in the
HVT, sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. HVT, staff will have to get involved if we're asked by an airport owner to do that. Like, I think we're obligated to get involved, just to make that very clear. Like, they're asking us to do something with something there.
And unfortunately, resolving a conflict about stuff like that is kind of part of our job description.
We won't take first action, but if we're asked, if an owner wants to escalate it, then I mean, sorry, AP, sorry, I interrupted.
Yes, I'm going to say the conflict that's notable in my mind recently was the saga of Xerez, of an airline owner wishing to change a livery on an aircraft, which in general, usually, we don't ask that. That's kind of under the thing of that's maintenance of airlines. I don't remember how we resolved that in the end, but that was a specific example and had specific reasoning behind it on both sides.
To be clear, Airplane didn't want that particular livery on that plane, right? But that was on. There was no airline transfer there though involved with that, right? So, but it's similar, but it's like
it's adjacent.
Yeah, it's adjacent, yeah. Like
No,
I can see.
Sorry, go on.
Continue.
I was going to say, I think like surely under current rules, that like the mayor of the town always has the final say on those sorts of things. I mean, like even if maybe we say, oh, actually they do have to ask staff, surely the mayor could just go, oh well, I'm gonna remove the gate to do airport renovations. Like there's, I don't know. I think it's surely that they will always have the ultimate say anyway.
Yeah, I think we've got two kind of things we're dealing with, and it might just be me being confused between the two of them. We've got port owners wishing to move gates, move flights between gates, so a terminal renovation, whatever else, and you've got airline owners wishing to transfer gates.
I think the first one, the airport owners transferring, I don't think that's correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that's controversial. I think that that's already in the franchise rules, existing ones even. If an airport owner wants to move things around, I think that's within their right. Correct?
Well, I suppose the only thing that I sort of brought up multiple times was just the warp issue. But I think beyond that being a problem, I think that I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, warps can be updated.
Yeah, we were just Tina was discussing whether do we make an exception for that, or do we require do we encourage the airport owner to contact the airline owner? But that's a whole other thing. I
still personally think it should be enforced. I suppose I don't know if I should mention that now, but
okay, that's fine. But
maybe it's like a stash mailing game which could be easily verified or something. Yeah.
I'm just more. Go ahead, Vicky.
Yeah, I definitely prefer like at least a good intent to contact, like we do with like the 500 block rule, rather than like requiring permission.
So let's put that aside for now, because I don't think there's much controversy about that first scenario where with the airport owner doing things, where the airline owner changes things. That's the issue. Katie, you brought up that's an interesting example, but I don't think it's exactly what we're talking about here, because when an airline owner, they're not subleasing, they're selling their gate to something. They're completely disowning that gate, right? They're completing any usage of that gate to someone else. So it's not quite subleasing, it's basically like it's a completely new tenant as far as I'm concerned, right?
I mean, I will say I'm actually more in favour of allowing airline owners to transfer gates. I think the only reasonable thing I can see an airport owner wanting to, the only reason I can see an airport owner wanting to control who owns the planes in their airports is if they want to maintain a certain aesthetic style and like another airline has a different livery. But even then, under current rules, I can still sell my airline, or I can still change the liveries of my planes, and it would still affect the cosmetic appearance of a town.
Okay.
So I suppose I just don't really see a reason why an airport owner would want to choose, perhaps.
So sorry, I misspoke here. I didn't. Okay. Own is not what I was saying. I'm replying to Katie here. Yes, if we wanted to use it as the lease as the thing, then yes, it is the lease of the gate. But I guess the question is, if you're changing your lease, shouldn't you tell the airport owner? Because I think that's the critical issue here, because it sounds like people have been transferring their lease without contacting the airport owner. That's how we got into. That's how this topic started in the first place. Right.
Mm. So would you set it up maybe so that I think the options we have is either you have to ask the airport owner for permission, or you set it up so that the airlines have to contact the mayor but don't need permission, or you just say they can transfer the gates without even notifying the mayor at all. So those are probably the three options we have.
Yeah. Katie, does that make sense to you? We're not. We know that airline owners don't own the gates. That's not the issue. That's me speaking there. But there's still the issue of what should the airline owner be doing if they want to transfer their lease to someone else.
I think the airport owner should always have the ultimate power to remove an airline from their airport if they see fit to do so. But
Dina, could you just outline those three options again, just so we all know?
yeah, so I think that the current situation is that either you can set it up so that airline owners have to ask for permission from the airport owner to transfer the gate, or you can set it up such that the airline owner has to notify the mayor but doesn't require permission. Or the final option is that airlines can transfer gates to other airlines without even notifying the mayor at all. Option 2 is an airline can transfer a gate to another airline, but they have to notify the mayor first.
Yeah, I think option 2.
Yeah.
I think option 2 is probably the best middle ground. Good faith effort to contact, but not necessarily explicit permission for each and every gate transfer.
Yeah, I think in favour of option 2, although it does make me wonder if the airport owner replies and says no, what in that situation?
It seems like there's still confusion about option 2. So I'll just reiterate for Dean. Tell me if I'm wrong here. Option 1 is you need permission from the airport owner. They have to reply back to you and say, "I grant you this permission." Option 2 is the airline owner has to make attempt at a contact, kind of similar like an IAT, but if they don't reply, they don't need to reply. You just need to make an effort to contact them. And option 3 is airline, which is kind of the status quo. It seems like for up to this point, airline owners can transfer gates without notifying or getting permission from the airport owner.
But I think one thing PTLD, I think if an airline owner rejects the transfer, like let's say airport owner, excuse me, if say person A is DMing the airport owner to transfer their gate, to transfer their gate to another owner. Basically, option 2 would still mean that the airport owner can still say no to that transfer, and that'll be that.
I think so, yeah, because I think the airport owner would always have the ultimate control of their airport. So I guess in theory they could reverse the change if they wanted to. I just don't really see. I can't really see it happening too often. Is the thing.
It might, considering how many gates transfer around, it might happen a lot. I don't know.
I think for the owner to say no to something though is. I just don't really see why they'd be saying no. Just because, again, unless they specifically don't like the person who owns the other airline,
which is possible, or they just.
It is, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
So
they've from admittedly very limited in the EF airfield. It was a kind of, I can't remember if I stipulated it in writing, but it must be served by the airline in question. However, that was more so for the sake of assigning gates. At this point, I would not be I would not object to transfers.
And I think the other thing I'll just quickly add as well is that I think that is already a problem for option number 1 as well. If both airlines have agreed to make the transfer already, the airport owner can still veto the transfer under Rule 1 or under Option 1. So
Probably before you do the
yeah.
transfer, you probably want to confirm with any airport owners before you do it. That's probably the thing.
So yeah, but
Plus, like even with option 2, like the airport owner could just say, "Oh, what places do they want to fly to?" and approve or disapprove based on that.
Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, if the destinations are all different, like if the airport owner is concerned about making sure that the destinations they travel to are kind of balanced, then yeah, I can see a reason why they'd say no.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I mean, I think I've lost my train of thought there actually. Sorry, Mark, I was going to say something. It'll come back to me.
Okay, I just want to just point out one little thing. So it sounds like option 2 is the most popular option, but there's one little thing. I think Nita and you touched on it. What's the amount of time that an airline owner has to wait, or to before they can just go ahead with their transfer, or whatever they're doing? Nita, you said a week. I don't know.
Sorry, let me interrupt us. Is that option 2 or option 1?
Option 2. Option 2.
Because I think, or at least what I was saying with option 2 is that you wouldn't actually have to wait for a response to make the change.
Oh, is there a bit confusion here?
Yeah,
I think there was going to be.
You just let them know, and then you do it. And then they want to
it's kind of what I was saying is kind of updated based upon like version 2. It's like based upon like plan 2, but like as we all know, like the airport owner does have like, at least in the current situation, and like if we just parallel that out, and that's what everyone else in the chat is also saying with option 2, is like the airport owner he still owns the airport, still owns the gate. So either way, he could like remove them. So it's just like within that week, like the airline owner doesn't like make changes, and then after after notifying, and if in that period something comes up, then they discuss it among each other, and like the airport owner is like kind of in control. If the airport owner doesn't reply within a week, it can just go ahead.
Okay, got you. I think that's quite a good idea actually. Put it into words. So
yeah, we need to give the airport owner a reasonable amount of time to respond, as Katie said. So yeah, like you can't just send it off and just. It doesn't seem fair to the airport owner. You just give them some time to respond. I think if we I would suggest formalizing the 1 week as in the rules at least, because I know that some people have varying ideas of what is a reasonable amount of time to wait. Some people might just think, a day or so. Some people might think longer. So I think if we just say a week, I think that's just a standard way of saying, yeah, just.
Yes, exactly. And because a week is also the time that is used for things like IATs, I think it is really good because it's just like stuff like that. You just wait a week after notifying.
I suppose the thing I'll say is we've kind of discussed airline gates a lot, but are we saying that we're going to make this a separate rule to the rest of the franchise rules then, or?
Okay, that's a good question. Like, where do we fit this here? Let's see. Ideally, I'd like to just try to shove it into the franchise rule somewhere, so I don't have to make it separate. But let's see.
So are we doing the same for like boats or docks at a port, that kind of thing, or trains trains already have an exception, I suppose, but
yeah, I mean, let's we could go through it case by case. I think it makes sense for buses. Like, if you're going to move a bus around, just
I think if you say as long as it's like the same size, maybe the same dimensions or whatever.
Not.
Because
I don't know.
I can see someone trying to put a bus in that's like 4 blocks wider than the original one. I don't know if that would be a problem.
I don't want to get too muddled in details here. Like, I kind of just want to, if possible, just try to make it as like generalized. If you're gonna make a change of some sort to your vehicle, I guess, or what, or here. But here's the thing: if you look at the franchise rules, there's already the rule that says only franchise owners have the exclusive authority to modify the exterior and interior of a franchise. So, which is technically the plane or technically the vehicle. So that one needs to be addressed somehow.
What's the issue with that?
Go on.
So technically, so far we've been talking about transferring. I have a plane. I transfer. I take my plane out and put something else. That's let someone else move in. That's one scenario.
Yes.
What this rule is saying that say I have a plane, but I change it to something else. It's basically what AP's scenario was, where the airline didn't change, but the airline decided to add something to it.
Yes.
That maybe the airport owner might not want, perhaps. Like a change in this plane size slightly, or the color of the plane, I don't know, like that sort of thing.
Yes. So first of all, of course, that the airport owner, they can always, if they don't like it, they can discuss it, and if that doesn't yield any results that they like, they can kick the airline owner from the airport. That's still an option. I don't think it would be needed to notify. Like also considering, like for example, this is also rules that would be for like buses and stuff. If every time for like that a bus gets swapped out, that like all the towns that are on the bus lines need to be notified. I don't think so. It's still common courtesy, of course, to like let people know if you're changing stuff, and like if you make agreements like, hey, with like buses, like this is the size in which you can like stay. Like of course that's still an agreement that you made, and that still applies even if you swap it out. But I think as to like changes within the limits that have been established, I think that is just, you can do it, but it's nice to like let them know if you think it's an issue.
I would say, like I was saying, this might be a situation where it's better to be reactive than proactive, considering, it's not an issue the vast majority of the time.
I'm not sure I can see why that is. I'm not sure I 100% agree with it though, because the situations that we've encountered as staff so far, at least not necessarily related to this, but have been kind of a mess to deal with in the after effect, because we staff then have to go back, talk to both of these people, figure out what agreements were made, what messages were sent between people. It's a lot. It's not fun. So I agree it doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. It's kind of a mess.
Yeah, but as long as we give the freedom to companies, and also to especially to cities, to make like agreements like this, we will always need to, as staff, like talk with like both parties. And I guess that's also, I guess, part of why staff, there's quite a lot of work involved. So
yeah, I'm just sort of I'm more of a camp of, if there's a way to avoid conflict, an easy way to avoid conflict, then I would like to try to do that before, instead of just reacting to everything. Is what I'm trying to say here. So,
which I think is a good attitude in life, to like make sure that like you're not like putting roadblocks ahead of you that you know are going to be there. But I think we're okay. But do you have any measures that you feel like would help against that?
So going back to what we were talking about with the what we just discussed with what DNA is suggesting, option 2, like how do we integrate that into the franchise rule? I'm trying to maybe go talk to himself. I'm trying to type out something in the agenda right now. I'm going to try to see if I can word this properly.
I do have another question. I was going to ask this earlier. I kind of forgot it. Is with the restrictions that, because obviously we're saying that franchise owners or franchisees can put restrictions in place before a franchise owner builds their franchise. So it's kind of hard to word that. Are we allowing franchisees to put a restriction on transferring gates and whatnot within those restrictions?
Sorry, could you repeat that again?
Yeah. So I'm saying that with at least with Rumpel's proposal, we're saying that the franchisees, who are like the mayors effectively, they can put restrictions in place when a franchise is built, such as like you can't change X, Y, Z or whatever. Are we allowing one of those restrictions put in place by the franchisees to restrict like gate transfers, for example?
I think yes.
Given the wording of franchise rule number 4, which does say
Mhm.
already says you can put restrictions, that sounds like it's already yes anyway. We could explicitly say that just to make it clear if you want, but
Well, I suppose I'm just wondering by extension though, like how can we verify this when a franchisee goes inactive, someone was contacted them about transferring one of their planes to a different gate or to a different airline,
and again,
and
in
they
that
don't
scenario,
respond.
again, that scenario, if staff were involved at that point, they have to
Mhm.
do an investigation, look up what was agreed to. It's like a judge trying to sift through like documents and stuff like that, like trying to look up all the evidence.
It would be simple for our purposes if that restriction was not stipulated. If we couldn't, we to just rule in this is one restriction that cannot be stipulated.
It could be simpler, but it also reduces the freedom of the airport owner or town owner to if they don't want someone's transferring their lease or their whether it's a gate or a building, it does sort of reduce their freedom to do so if they want to.
Yeah. I do wonder, I think I mentioned it in the thread, whether it might, actually I don't really know how well it would work, but it might be a good idea to have people sometimes outline restrictions using in-game chat just so that we can search through the server logs to find those restrictions.
Yeah.
Again, because Discord DMs are kind of unreliable at best,
but Discord DMs is what most people use. See,
yeah,
it could. I'm gonna suggest this, but I don't know if it's a good idea. Maybe they need to write a formal, like a written contract somewhere.
Oh, I was actually, that was kind of what I wanted anyway, but I was probably thinking that's going to be too much work for staff to handle, but like, I think I'd absolutely be in favour of that. So
a wiki page could work. All the history is there. There is a slight possibility someone might modify a wiki page to make it look in favor of them, but I don't.
What about a
think that
signed
happens.
book in Minecraft?
Signed books
They
can be
forged.
lost. They can be forged and lost, so that's not a good idea either.
I mean, I guess the only thing with contracts is, are we going to end up in a situation where people are like dissecting the words of a contract to find the loopholes?
I think
hope
that I think it will happen. Honestly,
We can have a lawyer franchise to deal with it now.
Where's Tone? We need Tone. We need a lawyer on staff team. Okay. So I'm trying to write out this clause in the franchise rules. It's hard to focus though. No, we're not.
The wiki. I guess would we ask people to put that on their user page or on a sub page of the airport or something like that. I think that's probably wiki's quite a good idea actually, like you say, because it's anyone can add that. It's a lot less work on staff to have to update a document.
Right, and the question that keeps going up in chat: what if somebody sells the entirety of their airline, whether that counts as transferring it, or that?
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know.
Especially because nothing will change. Like it won't.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, how would that work?
I guess I'd mention as well, going back to the thing earlier about people, an airport owner might not want a certain airline there because they're going to they're like serving different airports, and by extension, an airline owner can already change their warps in their planes without asking the airport owner, which would happen in a transfer by extension.
Okay, I have a wording here. Sorry, we can go back to that selling part, but how is this? This is a first draft, so how is this wording for covering what we've discussed so far? So this is option 2. Franchise owners may transfer their lease within a building or an airport gate, for example, to another player unless there is a restriction stipulated by the franchisee. That would be the airport owner or the town owner.
Yes, I think that's sensible.
I think actually lease does a good job encompassing all the types of franchises as well.
Yeah, I put in the example there just to make it very clear that it applies to those sort of situations. But yeah, selling. But yeah, now going back to selling, like how do we cover that? Like,
sorry, can I just about what you said as well? I guess do we want to will players outline what the lease is maybe when they like formulate it?
I'm gonna.
I guess would we have like a default lease if people don't actually define what their lease is?
It's hard because there's all sorts of different situations, right? Like,
yeah,
businesses in buildings, buses and bus stops, trains and trains. Well, except for trains, but
again, this is getting into the lawyer territory. I feel like. I mean, would I outline that? This is a lease for XYZ coordinates for this area.
I think we can just maybe for now we can just leave it for people to make their own agreements. They can be as formal or informal as they want, but if they go the informal route, that may cause problems down the line if there's a disagreement later. So I think we would encourage, I don't know if I would write it down, but maybe try to make it doesn't have to be like a full ass contract or something, but just make it clear on what you are both agreeing to. And whatever, if there are restrictions, make that clear as well.
I suppose if there was a conflict, would the franchisee have the superseding word?
Not necessarily. I think it would have to be, if staff are involved, they would have to make a judgment, I would say. That sounds like what.
Surely the franchisee can always just remove the franchise.
They have that option always. Yes, they do always have that option.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I suppose worst case scenario, that's what we default to, I suppose.
Yeah. Maybe that happens even before it gets to staff. Like maybe, they just say, okay, you're just out of here. That is an option. Okay, so I'm proposing adding this rule into my proposal, I guess, just to cover that case. Is there anything? I know these are very general rules. I do understand that, but it's not going to cover everything. But it tries to do its best, right?
Yeah.
So
I have something in the minutes. I don't have your exact phrasing, unfortunately, Frumple, but you could put that on the website when it comes time to write propaganda. I got on the minutes. I got airlines and transit companies and towns in general will be treated mostly as standard franchises, with a few exceptions. The rules will be changed so that anyone wishing to make changes to their quote lease at a transit facility should make a good faith effort to notify the facility owner. If they do not respond within a week, the change is allowed to go through. However, the mayor/facility owner is still reserved the right to deny or apply conditions to any change. When setting at such a lease, the parties should be in clear agreement on the terms of the lease, regardless of formality. Mayors or transport facility owners can set restrictions on what transit companies do, preferably somewhere on the wiki so staff can easily find it in the case of dispute. Excuse me. Is that all right?
I think so. I just realized my wording there is not complete because I forgot to put in the contact part. So hold on. I actually added this right on the agenda. So hold on here. Okay, I just put a new wording out on the meeting channel. And Moj just put a humongous paragraph.
So I guess
Generally, Moj, it sounds like you're in favor.
I was gonna say, can the franchisee always withdraw their franchise from a town as well?
That is also within their right, yes. I wonder if that should be actually put in the rules too. I don't think it actually says it here. But it says
probably be formalized.
Let's see if a franchise may remove. No, no, sorry, it is there. It's franchise rule number 3. Franchisees. Oh no, that's sorry. That's the French. It's so confusing. Yeah, so franchisees, the town owner or airport owner can remove the franchise from their building or town without notifying the franchise owner. Do we want to add on to there that says the franchise owner may also remove their franchise?
I think it's reasonable to say that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put a line in the minutes that says we reiterate that either party can withdraw and remove the franchise at any point for any reason without notifying.
I still I just want to go back to as well the issue we had earlier with the walls once we finish discussing this.
Okay. I won't. Okay, I will add, Vicky. I think I like what you said there. I'll try to add that to the rules there. But I won't try to formulate a write-up right now, as we've probably gone over time here.
Yes, frankly, I'll be glad to move on to 5B.
Yeah. Is there any further comments about this? I know there's been a lot here. Does it overall make sense to people? Like this, what we're changing? To be clear, we're going with option 2. We're clarifying that if you are going to transfer a lease of, say, of your airport gate, you do need to. What do you mean by this? I don't know what you mean. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I just modified it. I think we're gonna go with that.
So sorry. I mean, I will say. So, I don't know. Are we going to go back to the thing on the contacting the airline owners as well?
That's what I just said in meeting live.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
So I'll just read it out again, just to make it very clear. Franchise owners may transfer their lease within a building or an airport gate, for example, to another player only if they have made an effort to notify the franchisee beforehand. This does not apply if there is a restriction on transferring leases stipulated by the franchisee.
I'm saying like the franchise, the franchisee has to contact the franchise owner.
The franchise owner has to contact the franchisee.
Yeah, but I suppose didn't we we said that the franchisee was able to make changes to move the franchise.
Let's make it clear. The airport. Let's use the airport owner and the airline owner instead.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
the airline owner must contact the airport owner if they're going to make changes to their lease. So if they're going to lease it out to give it to another airline or that sort of thing. The airport owner already have the authority to move planes around to other gates if they do so, which is the same thing as town owners moving businesses around if they want.
Yeah. And I suppose I'm just saying that my main concern earlier is that if an airport owner is moving an airline within their airport, then it breaks all the warps within the airline. So I would personally be in favour of enforcing the fact that an airport owner should have to contact the airline owner before moving one of their planes.
Mm,
The thing is, that can be sorted out at the point of moving the aircraft within the airport.
Yes.
Because usually it'll, particularly for staff members doing the transferring, it's fairly trivial at that point to update the warps. And considering like where the locations of warps are visible on the MRT map, the not Dime map but Dime map alternative, that's fairly simple to validate.
So I suppose then, what would you do in the event that an airport owner just removes the plane outright? Because that would still have like broken warps and stuff from people's airlines.
Yeah, the airports owns right, and
I agree that they have the right to do that, but I'm just wondering, should they have to contact the airline just so the airline can update their records and change the warps over if they need
I think
to?
they should have to make a reasonable effort to contact.
Yeah.
Yeah, having it work both ways in that way, in that case.
okay, do I'm adding another? Okay. So this is what it says in my proposal. This is what it says for that particular scenario. Franchisees may only relocate planes to different gates within the same airport without permission. It sounds like we're going to change that to instead say they do need to notify, but don't need permission. Is that exactly what we're saying here?
Probably like
Yeah.
identification only, yeah.
So I'm sorry. So do the franchise owners still have to contact the franchisee, don't they?
Based on the franchise owner, yeah, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the airport owner,
Yeah.
the franchisee talking to the airline owner, the franchise owner. I hate this
I'm
terminology, but
just saying,
this is what we use.
if we're mandating one, is it not also reasonable just to mandate the other?
Not necessarily
I think-
not necessarily
Yeah.
because we have already. This is like the first franchise rule. It says that the franchisee, the town or airport owner, can basically do whatever they want with the franchise. They can move it around. They can't do anything. They can't like modify the franchise, but they can move it around with their town as they see fit. Except for trains, and it sounds like we're adding another restriction. Slightly, trains completely no, but planes we're saying if you notify. That's what it sounds like we're going for here.
I would say I think as the franchisee, I think as a franchisee shouldn't be able to relocate any of their warp transit without just letting the franchise owner know that they're doing that.
Okay, I can add it. I'm just a little worried that we've complicated the franchise rules even further with all this, but I don't know.
I think like especially with like conductors and stuff now as well. Like I think you're going to see things being moved around a lot more frequently. And actually, conductors, as far as I'm aware, don't have the ability to correct the warps.
Everybody just talk to each other, please.
Okay, that's the new wording. Franchisees may only relocate planes to different gates within the same airport only if they have made an effort to contact the franchise owner beforehand.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
happy with that. I think,
Okay.
and it
Okay.
doesn't have to. Well, don't add this to the rules, but I'm just saying it doesn't have. They don't have to have a response in that way, either.
All right. Are we good? I think.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm probably gonna have to
That's good
review all
fun.
this because it sounds like there's a lot of little changes, but yeah, Vicky, I'll read your minutes as well just to make sure I cover it because I think I'm missing one thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I tried to get everything, but I've been starting to space out a little bit.
HVT, oh, god damn it, HVT. So
because I've been pretty neutral on this issue, and it's just because I kind of go both ways because
HVT, that's already covered by the other rule that with the lease thing. Yeah. How about this? I'll post this on the website. If you see something wrong, let me know because I might have missed something, but yeah.
It's just hard to talk about with all the different terminology, but
Can we make an effort to just rid the rules page of franchisee, franchise owner, franchise, just the term franchise, because it's not well
Yeah,
understood.
can we like change that?
Oh, now you want to dump the whole thing? Okay.
No, just the term.
No, the
change
terminology is so
terminology.
confusing.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. I just don't know what would you change it to, like, because if you read the rules, it does define it at the beginning. It says franchise owner is the town owner or something, or airport owner or something like that, and the franchisee is the company owner.
They're too similar in name.
That's okay. That's fair. I don't know what the terminal.
you say like business owner and business C.
The
Business owner
company
and landlord.
business C. We can I think that's a good change it to company would help a bit. I think, but then
Yeah.
what do you call the person granting this company? Right, like landlord.
Can they just be the client?
Client might be confusing also sometimes because the companies can be clients too. God damn, I hate English. All right.
The mayor.
But what about airport owners?
Franchise outside of the town, this sort of thing.
Okay, mayor/airport owner.
Oh, but then Hut said building owner too. So the mayor/building owner/airport owner. We could do that.
What if it's a franchise inside of a ferry?
the other person, the other party involved in the transaction.
The property owner.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, I will rewrite this. Okay, I will go off and rewrite this to make it more clear.
Thank you.
So yeah. Oh yeah, key properties on maybe. Okay, let's move on. I think we've discussed this. Thanks for everyone for their participation. It's too capitalist. I mean, all right. Okay, moving on to 5B. This is very simple. This is actually a deferred proposal because of delays of figuring out who Fishy needed to contact. But Woodsbane is actually is not owned by Volpicula. It's owned by Canadian K9. So Fishy wants to IAT it. He's tried to contact them. It's all been a week now. Are we okay with this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Approved.
Oh, that was a tough discussion.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Okay. And then one last final. I guess we're at the end of the meeting, but one last final thing I want to say. So there is a community issues thread about adding warps to Traincart systems because we haven't, even though DNA's video is what's been like a month now since you posted that. So, but we're still seeing like a few guests come in. They want to see Traincart systems. So I would like to have some sort of. It might just be a temporary warp board at spawn, just so the guests can be directed to those TC systems. I am looking for suggestions for which TC systems to showcase. If you have suggestions, please put them in. We're looking for the best ones, I would say, or at least the more interesting ones that would be for guests. So don't put everything in there. Don't suggest
Like-
everything.
Attachments wise, or like everything?
Could be both, because we could probably have some non-attachment ones and attachment ones. Attachment ones will probably
Yes.
impress more,
Yeah.
but
we can change them around in the future as well. So
just so people know, the long-term idea is Fred, who's busy being a real-life conductor right now. He has plans to build a CC terminal right next to Central Park. So eventually, when that comes in, instead of this warp board, we just direct people, probably have signage, directing guests to that terminal, and then we could put warps or actual trains there, of course, right? So yeah, Nebopolis, City Rail, those are probably good examples. The question is, where exactly do we warp them to? Because I think like City Rail is a huge system. In MBF, you probably have a suggestion of where you want that warp, right? So
Yeah, directly at the platform.
okay.
I think for everything, really.
I guess do we maybe want to put some instructions on the platforms to like help people call a train or something?
I think I'll leave that up
Good
for
idea.
yeah, that's a good idea. I think I'll leave that for the TC operator to do. Like, yeah, so yeah, again, just put those suggestions in that thread, and then I'll compile that. What is happening? What's that? Okay.
Wait, what?
What is doing something? I don't know what. Anyway. Okay, so we're in the Q&A section of the meeting. Thankfully, there's Elite's not here, so there's no trustee meeting notes we have to sit through. So, and if you have any last questions or comments or whatever, this is the time to bring them up.
I think hopefully there's no arguments about the pot rules, considering we spent the last hour arguing about them.
I think there might still be some clarifications because there's a lot of little things, but we can discuss that post GSM. What? Why are you now? Oh my god.
What?
Wait,
Yes,
is this the... Okay.
Found no better place to put it.
Is this a secret announcement that, Katie, you were hinting at? Right. Well, congrats to both of you. That's new. I don't think I've ever seen a dating announcement at a GSM before. But, okay. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions here. Oh, there's Zooj. Hi, Zooj.
When are we gonna do like the command cleanup thing?
You mean like going through? You can do it anytime.
Yeah.
You can make a thread in the community issues and just have it keep track of all the commands that you want to
Okay.
bring up. And to be clear, it could be commands that are. I think we discussed this, like commands that you think should be added to some ranks and commands that shouldn't be for some ranks, because there's probably both sort of categories. You start with Jackbox. Oh God. That's what was happening, huh? Okay.
We did not start with Jackbox.
Danny has asked can we have the tractor vehicle? Just for some people don't know, when I added the vehicles plugin, the tractor vehicle was buggy. I think it had something to do with it actually plants seeds for you, but it was causing a lot of console errors. But that was like years ago. I could look into adding the tractor vehicle again, but just so you know that's why it's not. That's one of the vehicles that's not enabled. Zood, you're kind of too late for voting. I'm sorry. That's a bit.
Everyone was approved. Everyone's happy. Smiley face.
Unless you wanted to vote against for those two, Zood. Like, I don't know. It won't make a difference anyway. Okay, not seeing any further questions. We're going to end the GSM in 3, 2,
Bye.
1. Okay, goodbye.
See you
Go
later.
home. Or go to general.
Wait, I thought Mike been on the whole time.
What?
No, I don't think so.
Has
I
Mike
haven't
been on
heard
the
you.
whole time?
What?
No.
Have I been unmuted this entire time and I haven't said anything?
Only, I think, briefly at the end, but
Yeah,
didn't
we-
hear
I
anything.
thought it
So
was muted.
I think it was for most of it.
For our viewers in MBS, thank you for watching our live coverage of the General Staff Meeting. I'm Katie11231 for MBS News live in wherever the hell we are right now. I don't even remember. But with that, that's the end of our GSM coverage. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.